Welcome back to Open Window Politics. Today we're going to be going through the polling averages in each of the core battleground states. I've already characterized all the safe, likely, and we only have the one lean congressional district in Nebraska there going for the Harris campaign, but we'll be classifying each of these swing states according to the poll averages that we'll be using, and we'll be going with the 538 poll model. So we'll start out with the state of Nevada and work our way eastward. So in Nevada, the polls are essentially even. The polls are essentially even in pretty much every swing state, but we'll be going through each of them. In Nevada, Trump is ahead by a very narrow margin, so we will give the state of Nevada to narrowly be a Trump victory. We'll add a tilt characterization to make sure we get a little more nuanced. So we will add that, and there we go. So the state of Nevada, which is going to be interesting. This is a state Trump has never won, and it's been a while since Republicans have won in general. So that will be interesting to see if the state flips to the Republican Party on election night and the days following. Next up, we will go to the state of Arizona. So in Arizona, according to the polls, seems to be the most favored Trump state for the Trump campaign. Trump is ahead in pretty much all the polls, or it's dead even. A little bit of an interesting situation there, but regardless, according to the average, has Trump up by about 1.9, so that we will classify as a lean Republican margin. I realize we also have one more, or possibly two more lean states, that we should have done for the Republicans, but we will get to them. Next up, we'll go to Georgia. Georgia is slightly better for the Harris campaign, but still nonetheless, it is in the Trump column and has Trump up by a narrow margin. That poll at the top is a Republican-sponsored pollster, so probably not the best one to use, but most of the polls have Trump up by about a point, which is reflected in the poll aggregate, which has Trump up by about 1.6, so we will give that as a lean Republican state, and then we will, and with that, that's 252 electoral college votes for the Republican to 226 for the Democrat. And next up, we'll be going to the state of North Carolina. We'll do the Rust Belt last. In the state of North Carolina, let's go there. North Carolina is actually a bit of a closer race than in Georgia, which is interesting. Trump was able to win North Carolina in both of his races he's had so far. But it is interesting to see, he lost Georgia in 2020. But it looks like, according to pretty much all the states, all the polls, it has Trump up in the state by a reasonable margin, about 1.5 points. So we will classify that state as a lean Republican. And with that, the Republicans have taken a clear lead, the Trump-Vance ticket, with 268 electoral college votes to the Democrats, the Harris campaign, being at about 226 electoral college votes. We will now classify the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. We'll start out with Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, it is a close call for sure. Let's go. It might even be the closest state. Yeah, it looks like it is. So in Wisconsin, Harris is ahead by 0.1%. So it is a very narrow margin, but pretty much all the polls, they're about split, pretty much essentially even. So very, very the narrowest possible margin, but still that is a narrow victory for the Harris campaign in the state of Wisconsin. The polls have had a history of underestimating Republicans in Wisconsin, so I do think it's very likely and possible that the state will flip, but we'll have to see what ends up happening. Next up, we get to Michigan. Michigan is generally the most left-leaning of the three Rust Belt states, generally votes to the left of all of them, or at least has in the past. According to the average here, it has a electoral average of about 0.3% ahead for the Harris campaign. Nonetheless, very, very close, but it is still a victory for the Harris campaign in the tilt category. And then with that, it comes down to the state of Pennsylvania. So either campaign needs to win this state in order to secure the presidency. And Trump could have secured the presidency just by carrying Wisconsin. So if Pennsylvania goes to the Democrats, it still won't be enough. But according to the poll averages, the Harris campaign is up in the state of Wisconsin. So we will switch that black to tilt blue. But in Pennsylvania, We'll go to the polls there. It is, again, like with all these states, it's very close, but we will see what the exact margin is here. So in Pennsylvania, Trump is ahead by 0.3%. Here are some of the latest polls. Bit of a mixed bag on Harris and Trump's performance. It looks like there's a kind of reasonable match of each. So they're essentially tied, but still Trump is ahead by 0.3. So we will give that to the Trump campaign. So with that is 287 electoral college votes for the Republicans, Trump and Vance, to 251 for the Democratic campaign of Harris and Walz. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions about today's prediction. Don't forget to of the polls, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.